Hi all, and welcome back to the channel. We are going to try something different. I have been trying to post more consistently, and so instead of waiting on showing the sketchbook tour, I literally finished the sketchbook 30 minutes ago, and so I am going to go ahead and show you guys what's in here. I'm wearing the same exact thing that I wore to grab my coffee here this morning that I'm still working on, and yeah, I am super excited to show you guys what's in here. So as you know, I'm going to change camera view to down and we will get right into it. All right, almost into it. I promise I'll be quick. In editing this video, which I am also doing today, this video will also be listed today. I just realized that that may have come off as really awkward, and I sometimes just am like super awkward. I feel weird having a baseball cap on video and just like, I don't know, being in my comfy clothes, but this is me. So yeah, that's to explain why I was awkward in the beginning, at the beginning of the video. I hope this isn't steering you away, because I promise we're gonna get into the delicious goodiness in here, and I'll stop. Anywho, now let's get straight into it. All right, here she is. So this is a square sketchbook. I tend to gravitate towards squares. I'm not quite sure why, I just always have. And then it is a hardbound sketchbook. I prefer those just because I like to be able to draw out and about, and I just feel like these handle being in my bag a lot easier without, fully destroying themselves. It does have the nice elastic closure as well as a bookmark. And then I have grown to loving being able to decorate the cover with stickers, and then just using some of the alcohol or acrylic markers to add in some designs, and just wrote in sketchbook March 2025 to October 2025. I literally finished this about 30 minutes ago, and so that's why we are filming this video now, so I don't forget about it like I did the last one. And on the first page, it just says, super awesome sketchbook. And I always try and list out some goals that I have for each of my sketchbooks. And this one in particular, I wanted to be able to stay creative. More food art. I love food, so why not draw it as well? Have fun, but push myself. I wanted to do more subjects. I tend to stick with about the same subjects in every sketchbook, so I was just trying to branch out a bit more. I wanted to focus on making bad art, and I'll get into that more here in a minute, and then just using a variety of materials. I think that's really important, especially when using a new sketchbook. This is the first time I've used this brand, so just trying to branch out and do something new. And then this is done in alcohol markers with acrylic markers, and then I went in to add some finer details on my portrait here with colored pencils. All right, and the first page is green things. I think I went out online and just did a search for green and then put a bunch of things on the same page. So we have some crayons, we have an avocado. I love toads. We have a ton in our backyard, and my dog always chases them down, or my boys come into the house with a toad to show me the next biggest one they caught. But this is done using acrylic paint markers, so those Artex paint markers, as well as a gel pen, just to kind of add in a bit more of those details. But really like this page, fun way to start, just fun little doodles, not really spending a whole bunch of time. That's something I've been trying to focus more on. Oh, I love this page. So this is using one of my micron pens, and kind of along the same idea as the last page. It was just me pulling in completely random things onto a single page and just working on filling that page. So we have a cassette that says "Fly Me to the Moon." I'm a sucker for florals, so why not? And then pulling in that needing of more food art. So we have some Tabasco sauce, pepperoni pizza. Ooh, pepperoni pizza with green olives sounds so good right now. And then tea. I'm not a huge tea drinker, but there is a really nice citrus blend that I like when I'm not feeling well. But yeah, I think this is a very successful page. I'm really happy with how the flower turned out, as well as the Tabasco in the little gumball machine. I'm not sure why I did that. It's not really even in the style of the page, and I feel like it kind of sticks out, but whatever. Ooh. So same pen. I believe this is a peony, if I had to guess. I do love peonies, and I always tend to gravitate back to doing florals. So just using some cross hatching and putting that peony on the page. Oh, look at that. I forgot that this was in this. So this is done, I want to say it's alcohol markers underneath and then colored pencils to add in like the freckles around the eye and the details of the eyelashes. And then I used a gel pen to push the lights on, or the reflections, as I should say, on the eyeball. But a super successful drawing, in my opinion. Kind of awkward position on the page, but I didn't want to add anything else in because I was afraid of, I don't know, taking away from this. Either way, very happy with how that turned out. Oh, the goldfish. The goldfish are done using a pen like this. So it's obviously not this one because of the fact that it doesn't have the yellow, orange, or that pink on there. But I love ballpoint pens, especially these where you have the multicolors. It's very easy to just like take these two things out in public and get some drawing in. And so here we just have two goldfish that I drew on the page. And I want to say that I started out with the yellow and then gradually added in the orange and then felt like I needed to push them a bit further. But really happy with my two random goldfish. I don't like this page. I was wanting to mess around with like different styles of drawing. So here we have some alcohol markers that I then added color pencils to and then went back on top with the acrylic markers. Not my favorite, but not my favorite drawing. On this page, it's probably one of the more successful ones. I would say that my top two are honestly these two, followed by this, and yikes. I don't even know what to say about this one. Yeah. I mean, I drew it, so it's in here. I do wish this had been moved a little bit more to this side, just because we do have a lot of open space, but it's a sketchbook. I was just playing around. Ballpoint pen, and then this is mainly in those alcohol markers. Not a bad page. This cat is really creepy though, so there's that. On to our next page. Ooh. All right, so this one says, praise the seed instead of the bloom. And I think that just really resonates with me. It's something that I had thought of while I was drawing, and I feel like oftentimes when we're critiquing ourselves based off of the end result. And we need to reflect more on all of the growth and what it took to be able to have that beautiful bloom and to be able to praise the journey and what we learned along the way. So that's just kind of my rendition of how I feel about it. I like the intricate drawing. I like how you have the difference between the completed section and the not completed section. Yeah, and then you have your flower that is just getting ready to turn into a full blossom, and your full blossom out there, but the real growth is over here. Oh yeah, look at those blueberries. I did these using the alcohol markers that I have listed here, and then went back in with some colored pencils. So just trying to make sure that I worked on food art. I love this drawing. I am super happy with how it turned out. Those look like delicious little blueberries. Ooh. Oh, I don't know what got on there. It's a bummer. Oh well, it's not a big deal. So here we have alcohol markers, or not alcohol markers, acrylic markers again. I've really gone to using those a lot. I like how you can lay down a ton of color super fast and you have that great opacity. So it's just playing around with different foods. I love these little strawberry candies. They are delicious. Peach O's are probably one of my all-time favorite candies for not being like a super huge candy gal. And then just wanted to kind of pull colors throughout, so added in some M&Ms. Yeah, fun. Not fancy, just playing around with color and filling a page. And the mandalas. I do these a couple times in every sketchbook. It's a great way to be able to put something down on the paper without, I don't know, this sounds weird, but without having a lot of thought into it. So starting in the center and just kind of working my way out, I pulled in these roses that I've done in other sketchbooks, and then just creating a design. Yeah, it's fun. This was using, I believe, a micron just in like the brown color. Yeah, it has to be a micron. Anyway. Ooh, I see what the next page is. Bugs. Oh no, what got on this page? Oh, that's kind of a bummer. All right. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I love bugs. This is done using those mild liners that I had referenced in my last sketchbook tour. I really like the mild liners. They're a very vibrant color, also a small supply to be able to take out with you. So what I've done here is just drawn a couple of my make-believe bugs with their shadows and then had some designs along their back. Not fancy by any means, but always puts a smile on my face. And the paint blobs. I love to paint. I love to paint with both oils and acrylics, and I'm a sucker for really, really bright colors. I tend to gravitate towards those versus more muted tones. Don't let my sweatshirt fool you. I mean, my nails are also just vibrant and ridiculous, so... But these were just done using the acrylic paint markers again. I feel like I've already said that a lot for how small the sketchbook is. But just getting some color on the page and playing around with that material that I've kind of fallen in love with. Portraits. All right, and this is also using this same pen, just not in this color combo. And I always gravitate back to doing portraits. It's kind of like portraits and florals. Those are the two things that I'm most likely to draw if I have no idea what I want to draw. So started out with the pink and then went in with the red. And as you can see, I didn't finish this face, but I actually don't mind that the face isn't finished. I think that's kind of visually appealing, but maybe that's just me. Pigeon. Oh, who doesn't love a good pigeon? We have a ton of them downtown. And then once again, using that same supply. I think I just had this in my purse along with like all three of these pens. And so it was just playing around, and yeah. I thought about putting another pigeon over here, but as I've said before, I was worried that whatever I did here I wouldn't like, and that it would take away from how successful I thought that drawing was. another portrait. This is done using, I want to say, one of my newer sets of pencils, but I realized that I hadn't been drawing with pencil in quite some time, let alone shading and really blending out for a portrait. And so was trying to add something new in a different material into my sketchbook that maybe you guys haven't seen me use here recently. And then I think it's just good practice to be able to play with different things and try a new way to be able to do something. And it's not that I haven't done it before, just I haven't done it in a while, so felt out of practice. There are definitely things that could be done better here, but all in all, it's good drawing. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know how to describe this. I drew a bunch of circles on the page, and then I just kind of winged it on what I wanted to do. So we have different floral drawings, surprise, surprise, and then some dots. So I do a lot of these same floral designs in each one of my sketchbooks. It's kind of an easy brain dump, just creating a fun little pattern. I actually think that would be a really sharp fabric pattern, like if you replicated it, or like wallpaper. I would rock that. I would rock a button-down shirt with that pattern. Yeah. Fun, not fancy, not like a super amazing drawing or anything like that, but makes me smile, so there's that. And then going back to those acrylic paint markers. So I was just playing around with essentially like neon style letters or neon lights, where you have like the really bright in the middle and then it gets darker on the outside. And then was just playing around with different colors. Probably my least favorite page so far. But it's something. I filled the page. There's that. Doesn't really fit with the rest of what I've seen so far, or what you guys have seen so far, but I mean, that's part of what a sketchbook's for, is you figuring out what you like, what you don't like, playing around and learning. Some more florals with those microliners. Very simple, very quick. And then we have red. So at the very beginning, I had done the, where is it? The green page. And I was trying to figure out what else I could draw. And so I was like, ooh, I should do another letter. Or another color, not another letter. So I did red. And so did the same thing. Went online and looked up some red options and started drawing those out. And I never finished it. I don't know why I didn't finish it. I didn't go back in with a pen to outline them or add any additional detail. I still could. I don't know. I was just kind of over it. I will say that I do like the fact that on this paper, you can use, where's a good reference? I mean, this might be a good reference, but you can use alcohol markers, and it does come with this little sheet that you can put in between so you're not bleeding through on the other page, and it does fit perfectly to the actual size of the sketchbook, which I think is pretty fabulous. But yeah, done in alcohol markers and had meant to go back in with that fine liner and just never did. Duck. Who doesn't love a good mallard duck? I think that they're so pretty. I think it's crazy that so many birds, the male bird is so much prettier than the female bird. But done using the acrylic paint markers again, and then a micron to add some additional details. I feel like almost this entire sketchbook has, I've said, acrylic paint markers. That's crazy. I used them a lot more than I realized I did. It's a really fun material to use, not only in a sketchbook. I use them on tennis shoes, You name it, I have used them drawing on a bunch of different materials. So I had seen this by a couple other people on YouTube on when they had done a drawing and they didn't like it, they covered up with a Post-it note. And so I did these two, and then I had that top one, and I did not like it at all, obviously. And so I covered it with a Post-it note, and it's a vibe. I kind of dig it. So going back to using this same style of pen, I love drawing with ballpoint pen. It requires you to be very intentional with the marks that you're making. And yeah. I would also not consider this a good page. I really don't like either of these. I think this is pretty successful. As far as for a drawing, both of these are done using graphite, and then we have our ink pen here. I don't like the composition of the page. I'm not really a fan of the drawings. I do like this one. I don't like either of those. I suppose I could have put a Post-it note over those and redone them, but sometimes you just got to play around with supplies and play around in your sketchbook to figure out what works and what doesn't. That's the whole concept behind don't be afraid to fail. Failing is just your first attempt in learning. And even if you've done a ton of drawings using the same material, there's going to be times where you don't like it. Oh yeah, plants. I have a ton of plants. I actually have an orchid in my house that is only ever bloomed a few times, and here recently it has just taken off. So drew the orchid, and then I love my monsteras. I have a Thai constellation that is just going crazy right now, so wanted to draw in some of those new leaves. And these pages are always so fun. So starting out, I just do these like little humps with alcohol markers. And then I go back in with the acrylic paint markers and add in random shapes in different colors. I see here that the silver went a little crazy on a couple of the dots. But it's an easy way to be able to create that isn't fancy. It's not something that took a lot of effort, but I was putting something in my sketchbook, and no matter what, whenever I come to these pages in my sketchbook, they always make me smile because it's just that fun explosion of color that I don't know. Yeah. Like of all the little humps, I'm not like super fan of this one, but I like that this one was to the side. I don't know that I've done that before. I think I should probably do that some more. But very bright and fun and different. I mean, not that different because I put it in a lot of sketchbooks, but different in comparison to what the beginning of the sketchbook had, I guess. Ooh, yum. Oh no. Oh no. The color from this page bled onto this page. Can you guys see? We have like the yellow bleed through. Oh, that's a bummer. That's a total bummer. Okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just a sketchbook. Not going to use these. This was also done using, I want to say, do I even still have it here? I do. Yeah. I love this thing. I need to get another one because I'm like almost empty. Don't let the darkness there fool you. Yeah, these are great. Anyway, it is just a bunch of vegetables. So we have some tomatoes, a turnip, broccoli, and a pumpkin. And the pumpkin kind of fits because it's October. So very spooky. Ooh, feet. Weird. I really like it. I used to do a lot of gesture drawings back in college. Just a great way to be able to warm up fluid movements and not really focus on all the nitty-gritty tiny details, but more focus on the shapes and both the shapes of your object and the shapes in between and around your object. So worked on a few feet gestures, and something that I'm going to start doing more in my sketchbooks again, because I felt that it was very freeing to not have something that was so highly detailed. Oh yeah. I have this horror movie book. It's a bajillion years old, but it talks about different horror movies that were out. And so I want to say that this was from a Dr. Jekyll movie. I don't remember. I'm not as big of a fan of how this drawing turned out, but I am obsessed with how that turned out. I think it looks so good. I love the difference between how you can see just the outline of his clothes and then just all the details into the face with that cross-hatching. Super happy. All right, to the page that I don't like. And this is where, I don't know, not that I planned on having this in here for making bad art. I think you should just learn to make bad art, because it goes back into a more positive way of saying don't be afraid to fail. You have to fail in order to figure out what you could do better. I was in a weird state and had started off with a portrait that I wish you could see how many layers were on here. I hate this portrait. It is what it is. And then I just started writing and was writing random words and thoughts and feelings, and yeah, I ended up writing that you can be so much better if you quit dwelling in the past and focus on your future. You can't change the past. You can learn from it, but being stuck in the past doesn't help you succeed, doesn't help you push forward. And while yes, you can learn from it, being there and living there always changes nothing. So not my favorite page. It feels very raw and emotional to show you guys this, but it wouldn't be fair to just leave out pages of the sketchbook on a sketchbook tour. So, and then to my page that I literally finished now probably, I don't know, about an hour ago. And I love this page. Absolutely love it. Look at that. 10/18/2025. And I did this with graphite for her portrait, and then the background is actually done. The first layer was in acrylic, alcohol markers, and then I went back in with a gold high flow ink, and I don't know if you can tell from the camera that there's like a sheen on the gold. And then I added some of the flowers. I actually want to say that it's pretty similar to the flower we have back here. Yep, pretty darn similar. But I love this final page, and it was really nice after how raw and emotional the last page was to have this, because it's been a while since I've touched this sketchbook. I realized I had one page left, and this feels like a great way to be able to end this sketchbook without getting like super emotional. Yeah. I am really happy with how this sketchbook turned out. There are so many good drawings in here. There are also a ton that I am not as proud of, but to be able to end on such a good note feels really good. All right, I did it. I finished a sketchbook. I filmed a video. I am now going to edit said video, and I'm going to post it today like a big kid. I am really proud of myself. I am probably going to reward myself with like some food or something. for doing this because I frequently will finish a sketchbook and I'll put it down and I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna film the video, and then I forget about it. And then like the last sketchbook, it goes a while before I actually do it. Anywho, I am so glad that you guys were here with me as I walk through my sketchbook. I still can't get over the fact that it does feel like I'm showing you my diary, especially with the second to last page in this one. It feels very raw to show moments like that where it's me just processing feelings and struggling. But anyway, to end on a happy note, I am really happy with the drawings in here. I love the fish. I mean, those guys are awesome. I still think that people need to focus on the growth that they've been working on and praising the seed and the journey to get to that bloom versus only focusing on the bloom at the end. The blueberries. I mean, there are a ton of really good ones in here. I'm still floored on how many times I had to say acrylic paint marker. I didn't realize I had used so many in this sketchbook, but I did. Pigeon. Yeah. I love that face. And then just to end the sketchbook on that, ooh, you can really see the sheen there. Hopefully, if you couldn't see it when I showed the page before, you can see it now. All right, there you go. That is the sketchbook tour. I am really proud of myself for getting this all done today. And yeah, thank you for continuing to support my channel and be here. I truly, truly appreciate it. And at the very least, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks so much.